Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a really fascinating stack of source material today.
Yeah, it's honestly an incredible data set.
Right. And I want to speak directly to you, the listener, right off the bat. Whether you're, an absolute fanatic when it comes to sports, or you're just someone who's fascinated by elite team building.
Or organizational dominance, really.
Exactly. What we are looking at today is a masterclass in sustained success. We're going to analyze the official 2026 squad list and the internal Team Hub data for the Brisbane Lions.
The 2025 premiers.
Yeah, if you follow Australian rules football, you know they reached the absolute pinnacle. But our mission today is to figure out how they haven't just rested on their laurels. They've aggressively evolved into a genuine, terrifying super team.
It is a phenomenal case study. I mean, climbing to the mountaintop in professional sports is incredibly difficult, but it's an entirely different tactical and organizational challenge to stay there.
Yeah, for sure.
Most teams win a championship and immediately try to preserve the exact chemistry that got them there. They freeze in time. The Lions have done the exact opposite.
Okay, let's unpack this. The materials we're looking at take us right into the inner sanctum at Brighton Homes Arena, showing us exactly how they are reshaping their title defense.
Right.
They took a championship-winning foundation and went out and made massive off-season acquisitions. To an outsider, it almost looks unfair.
It really does.
They didn't just tweak the edges of their roster, they fundamentally bolstered their core.
What's fascinating here is the underlying philosophy of that aggressive expansion. Defending a title is notoriously harder than winning your first one because you suddenly have a massive target on your back.
Everyone's coming for you.
Exactly. Every single opponent in the league has spent the entire offseason studying your game tape. They are looking for the tiny fractures in your structure, the slight inefficiencies in your ball movement.
So it's not just about staying good, it's about being unpredictable.
Yes. So this deep dive isn't just about reading a list of impressive names and jersey numbers. It's about understanding the why behind this terrifying tactical structure they've deployed.
Right.
How is their front office neutralizing the fact that the entire competition just spent 6 months trying to figure them out?
I love that framing.
Yep.
And to understand how they are countering the rest of the league, we have to look at how they've organized their squad on the ground.
Let's do it.
The most logical place to start is right at the back. When you look at the defensive data, the sources repeatedly refer to this group as the defensive fortress.
It's a very apt name.
They highlight these incredible twin towers holding down the line. We are talking about Harris Andrews wearing number 31 and Jack Payne wearing number 4.
They're absolute giants.
Yeah, and the source material explicitly describes their role as providing ultimate aerial denial. I mean, just the phrase aerial denial paints such a vivid picture of what opposing teams are facing.
It is the perfect term for it. If we look back at the 2025 Grand Final, Andrews and Payne were the absolute pillars of that defensive success.
Right.
But to understand why aerial denial matters so much in Australian rules football, we really have to look at the spatial geometry of the game.
Because the field is massive.
Exactly, much larger than an American football or soccer field. When an opposing team is trying to move the ball quickly into their scoring zone, their highest percentage play is often a long, high kick to a tall forward.
A bomb down the line.
Yes. But when you have key defenders the size and caliber of Andrews and Payne, you force the opposing offense to completely rethink those entry strategies. You simply cannot bomb the ball long because those two are going to intercept it.
They just eat it up.
They control the airspace so thoroughly that opponents have to use slower, riskier, short passes to move the ball down the field.
Which gives the rest of the Lions defense time to set up and choke out the play. But a modern defense can't just be massive guys standing tall, right?
No, definitely not.
If the opposition is forced to play the ball low and fast on the ground to avoid Andrews and Payne, you need speed to counter that.
That is the crucial second layer of this defensive structure, and that's where the positional breakdown in the hub data gets incredibly sophisticated.
Let's hear it.
At fullback, working directly alongside Andrews and Payne, you have Darcy Wilmot, number 44. Wilmot is pure explosive energy.
Yeah, he's electric.
Then, pushing slightly upfield to the halfback line, you have a combination of Kenyan Coleman at number 18, the veteran strategist Ryan Lester at 35, and Dane Zorko at 15.
So you have these giant aerial interceptors paired seamlessly with guys who are absolute weapons when the ball hits the turf. It sounds like a nightmare to game plan against.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this specific blend of personnel is how you launch a lethal transition game.
Offense from defense.
Exactly. In modern sports, the best offense often starts with a suffocating defense. The Lions use the ultimate aerial denial of Andrews and Payne to stop the opponent's attack dead in its tracks. They force the turnover.
And then they just go.
Instantly. The very millisecond the ball hits the ground or an interception is secured, they activate the elite line-breaking run of players like Wilmot and Coleman. It is a perfectly balanced ecosystem.
It's beautiful to watch, honestly.
The aerial dominance wins the ball back, and the ground-level speed turns it into a blistering counterattack before the opposition can even transition back into their defensive zone.
It's like running into a brick wall that suddenly transforms into a Ferrari and drives right past you.
That is a great way to put it.
That visual of the ball being intercepted in the defensive fortress and instantly rocketed up the field feeds perfectly into the middle of the ground. Here's where it gets really interesting.
The off-season moves.
Yes. In the offseason, the Brisbane front office didn't just sit back and admire their championship midfield. They went out into the trade period and acquired a massive new physical centerpiece.
Huge move.
They brought in Ruckman Sam Draper, number 02. For anyone analyzing elite team building, this feels like a paradigm-shifting move.
It fundamentally alters the physics of the center bounce. For you listeners less familiar with the specific mechanics of the sport, the ruckman is essentially your team's giant.
The guy doing the jump ball.
Right. At the start of every quarter and after every goal, the ball is bounced in the middle of the field, and the two opposing ruckmen wrestle and leap to tap the ball down to their runners. It is the ultimate contest for primary possession.
It's pure physical combat in there.
It is. By expending the draft capital and salary cap space to bring in a massive, aggressive physical presence like Draper, the Lions are virtually guaranteeing themselves first access to the ball in those highly contested situations.
And when you consider who he's tapping it to,
It's terrifying.
it really is. It's a terrifying list of names for any opposing coach to look at. The sources highlight Lachie Neale, number 09, describing him as the reigning elite talent of the competition.
Unstoppable on his day.
And right next to him, you have Josh Dunkley, number 05, who the internal data explicitly names the statistical king of 2025 for his incredible work rate.
Let's break down that specific positional setup because it is a masterclass in midfield construction and complementary skill sets. You have the followers, the guys tracking the ball directly off the ruck tap.
The inner circle.
Right. That group consists of Sam Draper at 02, Lachie Neale at 09, and the dynamic young prodigy Will Ashcroft at 08. Then, holding the wider center line, you have Jarrod Berry at 07, Josh Dunkley at 05, and Hugh McCluggage at 06.
When you lay it out like that, grouping those specific 6 players together in the center of the field, how does an opposition midfield even begin to strategize a way through that?
It requires an almost impossible level of synchronized team defense. The synergy here is what makes it so lethal. Before Draper arrived, you already had a midfield containing McCluggage, who provides this incredibly smooth outside class and elite kicking.
Such a smooth player.
You had Berry, who gives you relentless, punishing running power all day long. You had Will Ashcroft injecting youthful speed and unpredictability.
And then Dunkley doing the dirty work.
Exactly. Add Dunkley, the statistical king, who does all the brutal, heavy lifting in tight, contested spaces, freeing up Lachie Neale, the reigning elite talent who just accumulates possessions and dictates the tempo of the game.
They already had all of those pieces functioning at a championship level.
Now take all of that existing premiership-winning chemistry and drop a 6'9" physical enforcer like Sam Draper right into the middle of it.
It's almost unfair.
It ensures they get their hands on the ball first. It makes this engine room virtually unstoppable at the center bounce. It's overwhelming physical force combined with absolute surgical precision.
So opponents just have to stack the midfield.
Opposing teams are going to have to commit extra defensive players to the midfield just to slow them down, which naturally leaves gaps elsewhere on the field.
Overwhelming force is the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah.
But all of that midfield dominance, all those center clearances, they don't mean anything if you can't actually put a score on the board.
You have to finish the play.
Exactly. And the Lions have constructed what the sources refer to as the scoring arc. Let me introduce you to the other massive off-season acquisition they managed to secure. Key forward Oscar Allen, number 04.
Securing Oscar Allen is a monumental front office achievement. It completely reshapes their forward structure.
The sources make a huge point of noting how Oscar Allen combines with their existing tall forwards, Eric Hipwood, number 30, and Logan Morris, number 13.
Yes, the data is very clear on this.
The internal commentary calls this trio a three-headed monster. We are talking about 3 towering athletic targets stationed inside the scoring zone.
This specific combination creates a severe structural breakdown for modern defensive systems. Most elite teams today rely on a zone defense players guarding areas of the field rather than strictly man-marking individual opponents.
Trying to cover space.
Exactly. They do this to support each other and intercept loose balls. But when a team deploys a three-headed monster of genuine high-caliber tall forwards, you can't play a loose zone.
Because they'll just mark it over your head.
Precisely. You have to respect their marking ability, which means you are forced to commit your three best, tallest defenders to man-to-man coverage.
Which stretches you thin.
Very thin. If you put your absolute best lockdown tall defender on Oscar Allen, who takes Eric Hipwood,
Good luck.
and if you somehow manage to double-team both of them, you are leaving Logan Morris entirely isolated against a smaller third-string defender. The math simply doesn't work for the defense.
And the sheer height is only half the story when you look at this forward line data. There's a detail from the source material that I find absolutely fascinating. They spend a lot of time talking about the ground-level threat deep in the forward pockets.
That's small forwards.
Right. We were talking about Charlie Cameron, number 23, and Kai Lohmann, number 01. The notes specifically highlight their immense defensive pressure and use the word wizardry to describe their play.
It's a great word for it.
They create magic out of nothing when the ball hits the deck.
The tactical balance here is staggering. Let's look at the official structure the hub data outlines. At full forward, the players stationed closest to the goal. You have this incredibly dangerous contrasting mix.
Right at the goal face.
You have Kyle Lohmann at 01, Oscar Allen at 04, and Charlie Cameron at 23. Then, pushing slightly higher up the ground to the half-forward line, acting as the connective tissue between the midfield and the goal square, you have Cam Rayner at 16, Eric Hipwood at 30, and Zach Bailey at 33.
Having guys with the explosive power of Rayner and Bailey pushing up the ground while Cameron and Lohmann wait deep, it really does validate the hub data's claim that this is the most dangerous forward line in the land.
This raises an important question for you, the listener, to consider when thinking about organizational strategy. Think about the mechanical reality of trying to defend against this.
It seems impossible.
How can any opposing coaching staff possibly match up against this precise dual-threat combination? You have the towering height of that three-headed monster in the air demanding absolute physical commitment from the opposition's tall defenders.
You have to play them tight.
But the very moment those tall forwards don't catch the ball and instead bring it to ground, you have the blistering speed, tackling pressure, and wizardry of Cameron and Lohmann swarming in to steal it.
You're trapped. If your defense focuses too much on spoiling the high balls, they get punished on the ground by the small forwards.
And if your defenders trying to play off their men to sweep up the ground balls, they leave the tall guys wide open in the air for an easy catch and a guaranteed goal.
Just pick your poison.
It is a tactical checkmate. You are forcing the opponent to choose how they want to lose.
A total nightmare for any defensive coordinator. And if by some absolute miracle an opposing team manages to hang in there against that starting 18, we have to look at the interchange bench. The depth listed here is described in the sources as downright frightening.
When you look at the caliber of players they have waiting in the wings to rotate into the game, frightening might actually be an understatement. The interchange system in this sport allows players to rotate on and off the field continuously, meaning there's never a drop in physical intensity.
Let's run through the names listed on that interchange bench. You've got Levi Ashcroft, number 10. You have the veteran experience of Lincoln McCarthy, number 11. Tom Doty, number 12.
Heavy hitters.
Logan Morris is listed here at number 13.
Okay.
And the sources make a specific point to highlight his versatility. They note that his athletic profile allows him to shift seamlessly between being part of that three-headed monster up forward and rotating through the bench to manage player fatigue.
Such a valuable asset.
And rounding out the bench is Jaspa Fletcher, number 03.
I want to draw your attention to a very specific long-term strategic move hidden in that the lineage.
Oh, this is cool.
Look at Levi Ashcroft at number 10. The commentary data explicitly points out that he is entering his second year in the system. This allows him to play alongside his brother, Will Ashcroft, who we already discussed as a key piece of the engine room.
The Ashcroft brothers taking over the midfield together. It's an incredible storyline.
But it's more than just a good story. It is deliberate organizational design. This midfield lineage is specifically engineered by the front office to dominate the competition for years to come.
Building a dynasty.
It is succession planning unfolding in real time on the field. You have established veterans like McCarthy and Doty providing the current structural discipline and cultural leadership, while the next generation of superstars is being actively integrated into the core of the machine.
It's brilliant.
Plus, having a player with the extreme versatility of Logan Morris means the coaching staff can handle mid-game tactical shifts, injuries, or fatigue without losing a single ounce of structural integrity.
So what does this all mean? When you take the impenetrable defensive fortress shutting down the airspace, you add the engine room powered by the massive new acquisition of Sam Draper.
Right.
You feed the ball into the scoring arc led by a brand new three-headed monster,
Right.
and you back it all up with a frighteningly deep, versatile bench. How do the experts in our source material summarize the culmination of this entire project?
The internal commentary and data analysis are entirely unequivocal. The Brisbane Lions have officially built a juggernaut.
A juggernaut. That is a heavy word. You do not throw that term around lightly in professional sports, unless a team has completely separated themselves from the rest of the pack.
It is earned here through ruthless execution. Look at what their management team accomplished. They didn't just spend money on random good players to make headlines.
No, it was targeted.
Very. By securing Sam Draper and Oscar Allen, they engaged in a brutal self-audit. They identified the remaining tactical gaps, specifically the need for a dominant physical ruck presence and an unstoppable, top-tier key forward target to stretch defenses.
And they filled them.
They filled those exact gaps with world-class talent. The 2026 squad list confirmed the success of this strategy. They have ensured that they are perfectly built for the incredibly high-pressure, physically exhausting environment of the run home.
That grueling final stretch of the season leading into the playoffs.
Exactly. They have engineered a roster that possesses every conceivable tool required for any situation an opponent might throw at them.
It paints an incredible picture of an organization operating at the absolute peak of its powers. And I want to bring this all home for you, the listener. Why should you care about the minutiae of this 23-man squad, even if you aren't a die-hard Lions fan or even a sports fan at all?
It's bigger than sports.
Because this is a perfect real-world case study in elite management. Human nature dictates that the natural instinct when you win a championship or achieve any massive success in business is to keep everything exactly the same.
Don't mess with success.
You want to protect the chemistry. You want to reward the people who got you there. But the Lions are proving that the absolute best way to defend a championship is not to stay the same. It is to aggressively, almost uncomfortably improve.
Pushing the envelope.
They look at a premiership-winning team, a team that was already the best in the league, and ask the hardest question possible. Where are we weak?
It is a phenomenal display of ruthless self-evaluation. Most organizations eventually fall in love with their own winning formula, and that complacency becomes their downfall.
Yeah, we see it all the time.
The Lions were willing to tear their winning formula down just enough to build it back significantly stronger. It takes immense courage from a management group to mess with a winning roster to secure pieces like Draper and Allen.
And the result of that ruthless self-evaluation is what the source material leaves us with as a final, definitive assertion. This meticulously crafted, hyper-evolved 23-man squad ensures that their home ground, the Gabba, remains an impenetrable fortress in 2026.
Good luck playing them there.
Seriously.
Yeah.
They have built a machine designed to crush opposition dreams. Good luck to anyone trying to take them down there. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the architecture of a true super team.
I'd like to leave you with one final thought to mull over, building on everything we've discussed today about organizational dominance. The sources confidently call this team a juggernaut and the Gabba an impenetrable fortress. But when an organization goes all in and builds a super team so completely stacked with world-class talent, does the immense psychological pressure of being expected to go undefeated become their biggest vulnerability? When everyone knows you have the best roster, the expectation shifts from winning to dominating. How does a group of human beings handle the crushing weight of being called unbeatable? Keep that in mind as you watch them take the field.